You've been carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, haven't you? You've felt everything, absorbed everything, given everything. And somewhere along the way, you started to believe that your sensitivity was your weakness. You started to think that feeling so much was a burden you had to bear, a cross you had to carry through this life. But I'm here to tell you something that's going to change everything for you. Your greatest comeback isn't coming. It's already here. It's happening right now, in this very moment, as you hear these words. For too long, you've been told that you're too sensitive, too emotional, too caring, too giving. You've been told to toughen up, to build walls, to stop feeling so much. And maybe you tried. Maybe you tried to turn off that part of yourself that feels everything so intensely. Maybe you tried to become like everyone else, to numb yourself to the pain and suffering you see around you. But it didn't work, did it? Because you can't turn off who you are. You can't stop being an empath any more than you can stop the sun from rising or the ocean from having waves. And here's what nobody told you. That sensitivity, that ability to feel what others feel, that capacity to understand pain and joy at such a profound level, that's not your weakness. That's your superpower. That's the very thing that makes you capable of creating the kind of life that most people only dream about. See, the world doesn't need more people who can't feel. The world doesn't need more hardness, more walls, more separation. The world needs you. The world needs people who can still feel, who can still care, who can still love even when it hurts. You've been through hell, haven't you? You've absorbed other people's pain. You've taken on their burdens. You've felt their sadness, their anger, their fear as if it were your own. And sometimes you couldn't tell where their pain ended and yours began. You've been drained. You've been exhausted. You've given until you had nothing left to give. And then you gave some more. Because that's what empaths do. They give, they care, they love, even when it costs them everything. But something's been shifting inside you lately, hasn't it? You've started to realize that you can't keep living this way. You can't keep pouring from an empty cup. You can't keep saving everyone else while you're drowning. You've started to understand that being an empath doesn't mean being a doormat. It doesn't mean letting people use you, drain you, take advantage of your kindness. You've started to wake up to a truth that's been inside you all along. You can be sensitive and strong. You can be caring and boundaried. You can be loving and still love yourself first. This is your comeback. Not because you're becoming someone different. Not because you're shutting down your feelings or building walls around your heart. Your comeback is happening because you're finally learning to use your gifts the way they were meant to be used. You're learning to feel without losing yourself. You're learning to care without sacrificing yourself. You're learning to love without abandoning yourself in the process. Let me tell you something about energy. Everything is energy. You are energy. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every word you speak is energy. And as an empath, you're more sensitive to energy than most people. You pick up on things that others miss. You feel the undercurrents in a room. You know when something's off, even when everyone else seems oblivious. This sensitivity has probably caused you a lot of pain. But it's also your greatest gift. Because when you understand how energy works, when you understand that you have the power to choose what energy you allow into your field, everything changes. You've been like a sponge, soaking up everyone else's stuff. But a sponge can be wrung out. A sponge can be cleaned. And you're in the process of wringing out all that heavy, dense energy you've been carrying around. All that pain that isn't yours. All that fear that doesn't belong to you. All those limiting beliefs that other people projected onto you. You're releasing it. You're letting it go. And as you do, you're creating space for your own energy to shine through. Your own light to radiate out into the world. Your comeback isn't about becoming hard. It's about becoming whole. It's about integrating all the parts of yourself that you've been rejecting or hiding or denying. The sensitive part, the strong part, the vulnerable part, the powerful part. They all belong to you. They're all part of who you are. And when you stop fighting against yourself, when you stop trying to be something you're not, when you finally accept yourself exactly as you are, that's when the magic happens. You know what's been holding you back? It's not your sensitivity. It's the belief that your sensitivity is wrong. It's the story you've been telling yourself about what it means to be an empath. You've been seeing it as a burden when it's actually a blessing. You've been treating it like a curse when it's actually a gift. And the moment you shift that perception, the moment you start to see your empathic nature as the powerful force that it is, your entire reality will shift. Think about this. You have the ability to understand people at a level that most can't. You can sense what someone needs before they even ask. You can feel when something's wrong, even when everything looks fine on the surface. You have a natural ability to heal, to comfort, to support, not because you learned it from a book or a class, but because it's built into your very nature. Do you know how rare that is? Do you know how valuable that is? But here's where you've been getting it wrong. You've been using your gifts to fix everyone else while ignoring yourself. You've been so focused on healing others that you forgot you need healing too. You've been so busy trying to make everyone else happy that you forgot about your own happiness. And that stops now. Your comeback begins the moment you decide that you matter too. The moment you decide that your needs are just as important as everyone else's needs. The moment you decide that you deserve the same love and care and compassion that you so freely give to others. Let me tell you about boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls. They're not about shutting people out or becoming cold or unfeeling. Boundaries are about knowing where you end and someone else begins. They're about recognizing that you can care about someone without taking on their problems. You can love someone without losing yourself. You can support someone without carrying them. Boundaries are what allow you to stay in your power while still being open and loving and kind. And this is crucial for you to understand. When you set boundaries, you're not being selfish. You're being self-loving. You're honoring yourself. You're saying, I matter too. My energy matters. My peace matters. My well-being matters. And when you do that, something incredible happens. The people who truly love you and value you will respect those boundaries. They'll appreciate that you're taking care of yourself. And the people who don't respect your boundaries, the people who get angry when you stop letting them drain you, those are the people who were only in your life to use you, and they need to go. Your comeback is about surrounding yourself with people who appreciate your gifts without exploiting them. People who see your sensitivity as beautiful, not as something to take advantage of. People who give as much as they take. People who celebrate you, support you, uplift you. These people exist. They're out there waiting for you. But you won't find them until you release the ones who are holding you back. Now, I want to talk to you about your purpose. Because being an empath isn't random. It's not a coincidence. You were given this gift for a reason. You have a unique role to play in this world. But you can't fulfill that role if you're depleted, exhausted, and running on empty. You can't light up the world if your own light is barely flickering. Your comeback is about reigniting that light. It's about filling yourself up so full of love and joy and peace that it overflows naturally to others without depleting you. You see, the old way of being an empath was all about sacrifice. Sacrificing your needs for others. Sacrificing your happiness for theirs. Sacrificing your dreams so you could support theirs. But that's not sustainable. That's not what you're here to do. The new way, your comeback way, is about balance. It's about being of service from a place of fullness, not emptiness. It's about giving from your overflow, not from your reserves. It's about understanding that the best way you can help others is by being a shining example of someone who honors themselves. When you take care of yourself first, when you fill your own cup, when you prioritize your own well-being, you become a more powerful healer. You become a more effective helper. You become a beacon of light that shows others what's possible. Because people don't need you to suffer with them. They need you to show them that there's another way. They need you to demonstrate what it looks like to rise above the pain, to transform the suffering, to choose joy even when life is hard. Your sensitivity isn't something to apologize for. It's something to celebrate. It's what allows you to create art that moves people, to write words that heal, to speak truth that awakens, to love in a way that transforms. Your ability to feel is what makes you human in the deepest, most beautiful sense of the word. And the world is starving for that kind of authentic humanity right now. Let's talk about the lies you've believed. You've believed that being strong means not feeling. That's a lie. Real strength is feeling everything and not being destroyed by it. You've believed that you have to earn love by being useful to others. That's a lie. You are worthy of love simply because you exist. You've believed that your value comes from what you do for others. That's a lie. Your value is inherent. It doesn't depend on your productivity or your usefulness or how much you give. You've been operating under a false belief system, and it's been running your life. But your comeback is about dismantling those false beliefs and replacing them with truth. The truth is that you are valuable exactly as you are. The truth is that you deserve rest, peace, joy, love, and all good things. The truth is that taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. The truth is that you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You are enough right now, in this moment, exactly as you are. And here's another truth. You've been attracting people who need fixing because you believe that's your role. You believe that your purpose is to save people. But that's not your purpose. Your purpose is to be yourself, fully and authentically. Your purpose is to shine your light. Your purpose is to live in alignment with who you really are. And when you do that, you naturally inspire and uplift others without having to sacrifice yourself in the process. The people who are meant to be in your life will be attracted to your light, not your willingness to dim yourself for them. They'll love you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. They'll add to your life instead of draining from it. And you'll know the difference because you'll feel energized by their presence instead of exhausted by it. Your comeback is also about reclaiming your power. For too long, you've given your power away. You've let other people's opinions determine your worth. You've let their moods dictate your emotional state. You've let their problems become your problems. But your power isn't out there with other people. It's inside you. It's always been inside you. And you can reclaim it anytime you choose. How do you reclaim your power? You start by taking responsibility for your own happiness. You stop waiting for others to change so you can feel better. You stop blaming your circumstances for your emotional state. You recognize that while you can't control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. You can always choose your thoughts. You can always choose your focus. You can always choose love over fear. This is where your sensitivity becomes your superpower. Because you feel things so intensely, when you learn to direct that intensity toward positive thoughts and feelings, you become an unstoppable force of creation. You become a magnet for miracles. You become someone who doesn't just survive life but thrives in it. You become living proof that sensitivity and strength aren't opposites. They're partners. Let me tell you what's coming for you. You're about to experience a level of peace you've never known before. You're about to attract relationships that nourish you instead of drain you. You're about to see doors open that you didn't even know existed. You're about to step into a version of yourself that is powerful, confident, and completely aligned with your truth. You're about to realize that everything you've been through, all the pain, all the struggle, all the times you felt like you couldn't go on, it was all preparing you for this moment. Your comeback isn't about returning to who you were before you got hurt. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. It's about emerging from the cocoon as a butterfly. It's about rising from the ashes as a phoenix. It's about transforming your pain into power, your wounds into wisdom, your mess into your message. And here's what you need to understand. This comeback isn't something that's happening to you. It's something that's happening through you. You're not a passive participant in this process. You're the creator of it. Every choice you make is either moving you toward your comeback or away from it. Every thought you think is either empowering you or disempowering you. Every boundary you set is either honoring you or betraying you. You have more control than you think you do. You have more power than you've been using. You have more potential than you've been tapping into. And your comeback is about stepping fully into that control, that power, that potential. It's about stopping the habit of making yourself small so others can feel big. It's about ending the pattern of dimming your light so others don't feel overshadowed. It's about breaking free from the belief that you have to suffer in order to be spiritual or good or worthy. Suffering is not noble. Sacrificing yourself is not virtuous. Martyrdom is not your path. Your path is joy. Your path is peace. Your path is living fully, loving freely, and being unapologetically yourself. Your path is showing the world what's possible when an empath learns to honor their gifts instead of apologize for them. You know what else is part of your comeback? Learning to trust yourself again. You've doubted yourself for so long. You've second-guessed your feelings. You've questioned your intuition. You've let other people convince you that you're wrong about what you're sensing and feeling. But you're not wrong. You never were. Your intuition is accurate. Your feelings are valid. Your perceptions are real. Part of being an empath is that you pick up on things that others don't. You sense the truth beneath the surface. You feel what people are really feeling, even when their words say something different. And instead of trusting that gift, you've been letting people gaslight you into thinking you're making things up or being too sensitive or imagining things. But you're not. You're perceiving accurately. And your comeback includes trusting that perception, honoring that intuition, and following that inner guidance even when others don't understand it. Your inner knowing is your greatest compass. It will never steer you wrong, but you have to listen to it, you have to trust it, you have to act on it. And that means sometimes you'll have to disappoint people. Sometimes you'll have to say no. Sometimes you'll have to walk away from situations and relationships that look good on the outside but feel wrong on the inside. And that's okay. In fact, that's necessary. Because every time you honor your truth, you become stronger. Every time you trust your intuition, you become more aligned. Every time you choose yourself, you step further into your power. Now let's talk about forgiveness. Not forgiving others, although that's important too. I'm talking about forgiving yourself. You've been so hard on yourself. You've blamed yourself for things that weren't your fault. You've criticized yourself for being sensitive. You've judged yourself for caring too much. You've punished yourself for giving too much. You've carried guilt for not being able to save everyone, fix everything, make it all better, but you were never supposed to save everyone. That's not your job. Your job is to be yourself, to share your gifts, to shine your light, and sometimes that light will help others find their way, but sometimes it won't. And that's not on you. You're not responsible for other people's choices, other people's growth, other people's healing. You can offer support. You can offer love. You can offer compassion, but you can't do the work for them. They have to do that themselves. And you need to forgive yourself for all the times you thought you weren't enough, for all the times you felt like you should have done more, been more, given more, for all the times you failed to meet your own impossible standards, for all the times you chose others over yourself, for all the times you betrayed yourself in an attempt to keep the peace or make someone else happy. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time, and now you know better. So now you'll do better. And that's all that matters. Your comeback is built on self-compassion. It's built on treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you so readily give to others. It's built on recognizing that you're human, which means you're going to make mistakes. You're going to have bad days. You're going to fall back into old patterns sometimes. And that's okay. Progress isn't linear. Growth isn't perfect. Healing isn't pretty, but it's happening. You're evolving, you're changing, you're becoming. And as you continue on this path of your comeback, you're going to notice things shifting. You're going to notice that you feel lighter. The heaviness that you've been carrying is going to start to lift. You're going to notice that you have more energy because you're not leaking energy through poor boundaries and one-sided relationships anymore. You're going to notice that you feel more like yourself, the real you, not the version you thought you had to be loved and accepted. You're going to start attracting different people into your life. People who match your new energy, people who respect your boundaries, people who appreciate your gifts without exploiting them, people who give as much as they receive, people who make your life better, not harder. And it's going to feel so good that you'll wonder why you tolerated anything less for so long. You're going to start creating the life you've always wanted. Not someday, not eventually, but now. Because you're going to realize that you don't have to wait for permission to be happy. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect or everyone approves or the timing is right. You can choose happiness now. You can choose peace now. You can choose yourself now. And when you do, the universe will rush to support you. Things will start falling into place. Opportunities will appear. Resources will show up. People will come into your life to help you. And it won't be because you're lucky or because you finally deserved it or because you earned it through your suffering. It will be because you aligned yourself with who you really are. And when you're in alignment, life flows. Doors open. Magic happens. Dreams come true. This is what's available to you. This is what's waiting for you. This is your comeback. And it's not something that might happen in the future. It's happening right now. Every moment that you choose yourself is part of your comeback. Every boundary you set is part of your comeback. Every time you trust your intuition is part of your comeback. Every time you release someone else's energy is part of your comeback. Every time you fill your own cup is part of your comeback. You don't have to wait until you've healed completely. You don't have to wait until you've figured everything out. You don't have to wait until you're perfect. Your comeback is now. It's in this moment. It's in every conscious choice you make to honor yourself, to love yourself, to be yourself. And here's the beautiful thing. As you step into your comeback, as you reclaim your power and honor your gifts, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing the lives of everyone around you. You're showing other empaths that they don't have to suffer. You're demonstrating that sensitivity and strength can coexist. You're proving that it's possible to be caring and boundaried, loving and self-loving, giving and self-preserving. You're becoming a new model of what it means to be an empath. Not the old model of sacrifice and martyrdom and depletion, but a new model of balance and boundaries and self-honor. A model that says, I can care about you without carrying you. I can love you without losing myself. I can be there for you without abandoning me. And that's revolutionary. That's what the world needs to see. Because there are so many empaths out there right now who are struggling, who are depleted, who are wondering if they can keep going, who are questioning whether their sensitivity is a curse. And they need to see you. They need to see that there's another way. They need to see your comeback. Because when they see what's possible for you, they'll realize what's possible for them too. You're not just having a comeback for yourself. You're having a comeback for all of us. For everyone who feels too much. For everyone who cares too deeply. For everyone who's been told they're too sensitive, too emotional, too soft. You're showing us that those qualities aren't weaknesses. They're strengths. They're gifts. They're what make the world a better place. So step into it. Own it. Claim it. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your comeback. You've been in the darkness long enough. You've been carrying the weight long enough. You've been sacrificing yourself long enough. It's time to rise. It's time to shine. It's time to be the fullest, most authentic, most powerful version of yourself. And as you do, know that you're not alone. There's a whole tribe of empaths who are waking up right alongside you, who are setting boundaries, who are honoring themselves, who are reclaiming their power, who are stepping into their comebacks. You're part of something bigger than yourself. You're part of a movement of sensitive souls who are changing the world by first changing themselves. The world needs your light. But you can't give what you don't have. So fill yourself up first. Love yourself first. Honor yourself first. Choose yourself first. Not in a selfish way, but in a self-full way. In a way that allows you to give from your overflow instead of your emptiness. In a way that allows you to be of service without self-sacrifice. In a way that allows you to change the world while also honoring yourself. This is your comeback story. And it's just beginning. Every day from now on, you get to write a new chapter. A chapter where you're the hero, not the victim. A chapter where you're empowered, not depleted. A chapter where you're thriving, not just surviving. A chapter where you're living your truth. Not everyone else's expectations. You've got this. You've always had this. You just forgot for a while. But now you're remembering. You're remembering who you are. You're remembering what you're capable of. You're remembering that your sensitivity is your superpower, not your weakness. You're remembering that you deserve all the good things you've been giving to everyone else. You're remembering that you matter, that you're worthy, that you're enough. And as you remember, as you step into this truth, as you embrace your comeback, your whole life is going to change. Not because life suddenly gets easier, but because you get stronger. Not because problems disappear, but because you learn to handle them differently. Not because people stop disappointing you, but because you stop disappointing yourself. Your comeback is the most important thing you'll ever do. Not for anyone else, but for you. Because you deserve it. Because you're worth it. Because you've been through enough. Because you've given enough. Because you've suffered enough. And now it's time for something different. It's time for joy. It's time for peace. It's time for you to receive all the love and care and support that you've been giving to everyone else. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a decision right now. A decision that from this moment forward, you're going to honor yourself. You're going to trust yourself. You're going to choose yourself. Not someday, not when things get better, not when other people approve. Now, right now, in this moment, you're going to decide that you matter, that your needs are important, that your feelings are valid, that your dreams are worth pursuing, that your happiness is worth fighting for. And then I want you to back up that decision with action. Start setting those boundaries. Start saying no to what drains you and yes to what energizes you. Start releasing toxic relationships and cultivating healthy ones. Start listening to your intuition instead of everyone else's opinions. Start filling your own cup before you pour into others. Start treating yourself with the same compassion you show everyone else. Your comeback isn't going to happen overnight. It's a process. It's a practice. It's a daily choice. But every single step you take in the direction of honoring yourself is a step in the right direction. Every boundary you set makes you stronger. Every time you choose yourself makes it easier to choose yourself again. Every moment you spend in alignment with your truth builds momentum toward the life you really want. And before you know it, you're going to look back and realize how far you've come. You're going to see that the person you were when you started this comeback is completely different from the person you are now. You're going to notice that things that used to devastate you barely affect you anymore. You're going to realize that you're not attracting the same type of people or situations you used to. You're going to recognize that you're finally living the life you always knew was possible but didn't know how to create. That's your comeback. That's what's waiting for you. That's what you're stepping into right now. And it's going to be better than you ever imagined. Because when you finally align with who you really are, when you finally honor your gifts instead of apologize for them, when you finally choose yourself instead of everyone else, life opens up in ways you never thought possible. The universe has been waiting for you to step into this. Your soul has been calling you toward this. Everything you've been through has been preparing you for this. And now you're ready. Now you're here. Now it's happening. Your comeback isn't coming. It's here. It's now. It's you. So rise up, step forward, claim it, own it, live it, because this is your time, and the world is waiting for the gift of the real you. You know, there comes a moment in every person's life when you realize that you've been fighting battles with the wrong weapons. You've been trying to protect yourself with things that can't really protect you at all. You've been wearing armor made of other people's opinions, armor made of fear, armor made of worry about what might happen tomorrow. And that armor, my friends, is paper thin. It dissolves the moment real trouble comes knocking at your door. But there's another kind of armor available to you right now, this very moment. It's been waiting for you all along. And it doesn't matter how many times you've failed before, how many times you've stumbled, how many mornings you've woken up feeling defeated. This armor is yours for the taking. And it's the only protection you'll ever truly need. When the ancient texts talk about putting on the whole armor of God, they're not talking about some medieval suit of metal plates. They're talking about a complete transformation of how you face each day. They're talking about clothing yourself in truth, in righteousness, in peace, in faith, in salvation, and in the word of spirit. These aren't just nice religious words. These are practical, powerful tools for living the kind of life you were meant to live. Let's talk about truth first, because without truth, nothing else matters. The belt of truth holds everything else together. You see, most people are walking around wearing a belt of lies. They're lying to themselves about who they are, about what they're capable of, about what they deserve. They wake up every morning and the first thing they do is put on that belt of lies. I'm not good enough. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have what it takes. I've tried before and failed. People like me don't get to have that kind of life. Every single one of those thoughts is a lie. And when you build your day on lies, when you strap yourself in with falsehood, everything else you put on is going to hang crooked. Everything else is going to slip and slide because there's no solid foundation holding it in place. The truth is this: you are a spiritual being having a human experience. You didn't come from nowhere and you're not going to nowhere. You came from the divine, you are connected to the source of all creation, and that source doesn't make mistakes. You are here on purpose, with a purpose, and you have everything you need within you right now to fulfill that purpose. That's the truth. That's the belt that holds everything else together. When you wake up tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before you start worrying about all the things on your to-do list, I want you to put on that belt of truth. Say it out loud if you have to. I am a divine creation. I am loved. I am whole. I am enough exactly as I am. You might not believe it at first. Your ego is going to scream that it's not true. But you keep putting on that belt every single day, and something starts to shift. The lies lose their power. The truth becomes your foundation. Now, the breastplate of righteousness. This is about right action, right thinking, right living. It's about protecting your heart from all the garbage that wants to get in there and corrupt it. Your heart is the center of everything. Out of it flows all the issues of your life. What you hold in your heart determines what you experience in your world. Most people let anything and everything into their hearts. They watch the news for hours and wonder why they feel anxious. They scroll through social media, comparing their lives to everyone else's highlight reel and wonder why they feel inadequate. They replay every hurt, every betrayal, every disappointment over and over again and wonder why they can't move forward. The breastplate of righteousness means you become very careful about what you allow into your heart. You guard it like the precious treasure it is. You don't let bitterness set up camp there. You don't let resentment build a house there. You don't let fear rent space there. You fill it instead with thoughts of love, with thoughts of peace, with thoughts of gratitude, with thoughts of possibility. This doesn't mean you deny reality or pretend bad things don't happen. It means you choose how you respond to what happens. Someone hurts you? You can hold on to that hurt and let it corrode your heart, or you can choose to forgive and keep your heart clean. You lose something you valued. You can focus on the loss and become bitter, or you can trust that something better is coming and keep your heart open. You face a challenge? You can let fear flood your heart, or you can let courage rise up and face it from a place of strength. Right action flows from a protected heart. When your heart is guarded by righteousness, when you're committed to living in alignment with your highest values, you don't have to figure out what to do in every situation. You already know. The right action becomes obvious because it flows naturally from who you are. Then we have the shoes of peace. Your feet need to be fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. This is about how you walk through this world. So many people stomp through life creating chaos wherever they go. They're angry, they're reactive, they're always stirring up drama. They leave every situation more turbulent than they found it. But you're called to walk differently. You're called to be a peacemaker, not a peacekeeper who avoids all conflict and just tries to keep everyone happy. That's exhausting and impossible. A peacemaker is someone who brings peace with them wherever they go. They have peace inside, and that peace radiates outward and affects everyone around them. How do you get that kind of peace? You get it by trusting. By really, truly, absolutely trusting that you are being guided, that you are being protected, that everything is working out for your highest good, even when you can't see how. You get it by letting go of the need to control everything and everyone. You get it by accepting what is, instead of constantly fighting against reality. When you put on those shoes of peace every morning, you walk through your day differently. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Instead of raging and ruining your own morning, you stay peaceful. You might even send them a blessing. Your boss is in a bad mood. Instead of taking it personally and getting defensive, you stay peaceful. You recognize it's about them, not about you. Your plans fall apart. Instead of falling apart with them, you stay peaceful. You trust that maybe this is protection, maybe this is redirection towards something better. Peace isn't something you have to create. It's something you already have that you need to stop blocking. You block it with worry. You block it with anger. You block it with your constant mental chatter about everything that could go wrong. When you quiet all that noise, peace is what remains. It's always been there, underneath all the chaos. Now, the shield of faith. This is your protection against all the flaming arrows that get shot at you every single day. And let me tell you, those arrows are flying constantly. The arrow of doubt, the arrow of discouragement, the arrow of criticism, the arrow of temptation, the arrow of fear, the arrow of what if everything falls apart. These arrows are real. They come at you from the outside world, and they come from your own mind. If you're walking through life without the shield of faith, you're going to get hit. You're going to get wounded. You're going to spend all your energy just trying to recover from the last arrow that struck you. But faith is the shield that extinguishes all those flaming arrows before they can harm you. Not some of them, all of them, every single one. When you're walking in faith, when you truly believe that you are connected to infinite intelligence, that you are guided by divine wisdom, that you are loved beyond measure, those arrows can't touch. Are you? Someone says you can't do it? The arrow of discouragement comes flying, but your shield of faith stops it. You know who you are. You know what you're capable of. You know that their opinion doesn't define your reality. The medical report is bad. The arrow of fear comes flying, but your shield of faith stops it. You know that you are more than your body. You know that miracles happen every day. You know that you are held in the hands of infinite love. The bank account is low. The arrow of panic comes flying, but your shield of faith stops it. You know that you are connected to infinite abundance. You know that everything you need is already on its way to you. You know that divine timing is always perfect. Faith isn't hoping things will work out. Faith is knowing they will. Faith is being so certain of the invisible that you're not shaken by the visible. Faith is saying, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I know it will, so I'm staying peaceful and taking the next right action. You build this shield of faith the same way you build any muscle. You use it. Every time fear knocks on your door, you answer with faith. Every time doubt tries to talk you out of your dreams, you respond with faith. Every time circumstances look impossible, you stand firm in faith, and gradually, over time, that shield becomes stronger and stronger until nothing can penetrate it. The helmet of salvation. This protects your mind, your thoughts, your mental space. Your mind is where every battle is won or lost. If the enemy can control your thoughts, he can control your life. If you can control your thoughts, you can control your life. Salvation isn't just about going to heaven when you die. Salvation is about being saved from destructive patterns right now. Being saved from the tyranny of your ego. Being saved from the prison of your past. Being saved from the limitations you've placed on yourself. When you put on the helmet of salvation every morning, you're reminding yourself that you are saved. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not your painful history. All of that has been washed away. You are new. You are clean. You are free. You have been given a fresh start, and that fresh start is available to you every single morning. This helmet protects you from the thoughts that want to drag you back into the old ways. The thought that says, remember when you failed before? The helmet of salvation says, that was the old me, I am new now. The thought that says, you're not smart enough, talented enough, worthy enough. The helmet of salvation says, I am enough, because God says I am enough, and that settles it. Your mind wants to replay the greatest hits of your failures. Your mind wants to run disaster scenarios about the future. Your mind wants to compare you to everyone else and find you lacking. But when you're wearing the helmet of salvation, you can observe those thoughts without believing them. You can say, that's just my ego talking, that's just fear talking, that's not the truth of who I am. And then there's the sword of the Spirit. This is the only offensive weapon in the whole armor. Everything else is defensive, protecting you. But the sword is for advancing, for cutting through obstacles, for defeating the enemy. The sword of the Spirit is the Word of God. Its truth spoken out loud. Its promises declared. Its power activated through your words. Your words are not just sounds that disappear into the air. Your words are creative forces. They shape your reality. They determine your experience. When Jesus was tempted in the wilderness, he didn't argue with the devil. He didn't try to reason with him. He didn't explain why the temptations were wrong. He simply spoke the word, it is written. And every time he spoke the word, the temptation lost its power. You have that same authority. When fear comes knocking, you don't have to engage in a long debate about whether you should be afraid or not. You speak the word. God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. You declare it, you speak it out loud, and fear has to leave. When lack shows up, you don't sit around worrying about how you're going to make it. You speak the word. My God supplies all my needs according to his riches in glory. You declare it, you speak it with conviction, and you start to see provision show up in unexpected ways. When sickness tries to take hold, you don't just accept it as your fate, you speak the word. By his stripes I am healed. You declare it over your body. You speak life instead of death. You speak health instead of disease. This isn't magic. This isn't pretending things are fine when they're not. This is recognizing the creative power that flows through your words and using that power intentionally. This is aligning your speech with divine truth instead of with appearances. This is choosing to speak the end result you want rather than the temporary condition you see. The sword cuts both ways, though. Your words can build or they can destroy. They can heal or they can harm. When you speak words of defeat over yourself, you're using the sword against yourself. When you speak words of criticism and judgment over others, you're wounding them with your sword. When you complain constantly, when you speak lack, when you declare how hard everything is, you're creating more of exactly what you don't want. But when you speak blessings, when you speak life, when you speak possibility, when you speak encouragement, you're using the sword the way it was meant to be used. You're cutting through the darkness. You're clearing a path. You're creating space for miracles. Now here's what most people miss about this armor. You can't just put on one piece. You need the whole armor. You need all of it, every single piece, working together, because the enemy is smart. He knows where you're not protected. If you've got the breastplate on but you're not wearing the helmet, he's going to attack your thoughts. If you've got the shield of faith but you're not wearing the shoes of peace, he's going to trip you up by getting you all agitated and reactive. You need complete protection. And the beautiful thing is, it's all available to you. Every single piece. Right now, this morning, every morning. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to be perfect enough or good enough to wear this armor. It's freely given. You just have to choose to put it on. Most people wake up and immediately start putting on the armor of the world. They put on anxiety about the day ahead. They put on stress about their to-do list. They put on resentment about their circumstances. They put on fear about their future. And then they wonder why they feel so vulnerable, why they feel so attacked, why they feel so defeated. But you have a different choice available to you. Before you do anything else, before you let the world crowd in with all its demands and worries, you take time to put on the whole armor of God. You deliberately clothe yourself in truth, in righteousness, in peace, in faith, in salvation, in the power of the Spirit. This isn't a religious ritual. This is a practical, daily practice that changes everything. When you start your day armored up spiritually, you walk through that day differently. Things that would have knocked you down just bounce off. Situations that would have sent you into a panic don't move you. Words that would have hurt you lose their sting. Problems that would have overwhelmed you suddenly seem manageable. You become what the ancient texts call more than a conqueror. Not just someone who barely survives the battles, but someone who knows the victory is already won. Someone who faces challenges from a place of absolute confidence. Not confidence in yourself, because we all have limitations, but confidence in the source that's working through you. Here's another truth that you need to understand. The battle you're fighting, the real battle, it's not against other people. It's not against your circumstances. It's not against your past or your limitations. Those are all just symptoms. The real battle is in the invisible realm. It's a spiritual battle. And you can't fight a spiritual battle with physical weapons. You can't defeat fear by just trying harder. You can't overcome lack by just working more hours. You can't heal emotional wounds by just pretending they don't exist. You need spiritual weapons for spiritual battles. You need the armor of God. And the timing of putting on this armor, it matters. You put it on first thing in the morning, before you check your phone and let the world tell you who to be and what to worry about. Before you start running through your mental list of everything that's wrong. Before you give your attention to anything else, you create a morning practice, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes, where you deliberately, intentionally, consciously put on each piece of armor. You don't rush through it. You take your time. You see yourself being dressed in truth, standing firm in righteousness, walking in peace, holding up the shield of faith, covering your mind with salvation, taking hold of the sword of the Spirit. And as you do this, day after day, something remarkable happens. It becomes automatic. You find yourself responding to situations from that armored place without even thinking about it. Someone tries to push your buttons, and instead of reacting, you respond with peace. A challenge appears, and instead of panicking, you respond with faith. A thought of defeat tries to enter your mind, and immediately the sword of the Spirit is there, speaking truth. This is what transformation looks like. Not trying to force yourself to be different, but putting on the armor every day and letting that armor change how you interact with everything else. The armor becomes part of you. You don't have to try to be peaceful. You are peaceful because you're wearing the shoes of peace. You don't have to try to have faith. You have faith because you're holding the shield of faith. Now let's talk about what happens when you forget to put on the armor, because you will forget sometimes. We all do. You'll wake up late, rush through your morning, skip your practice, and head out into the day unprotected. And you'll feel it, that vulnerability, that sense that everything is getting to you. That person's comment that wouldn't normally bother you suddenly ruins your whole morning. That unexpected expense that you could normally handle suddenly feels catastrophic. That critical thought about yourself that you could normally deflect suddenly feels absolutely true. When you notice this happening, when you realize you're feeling defeated and vulnerable and attacked, stop right there. In that moment, wherever you are, put on the armor. It's never too late. Go through each piece mentally. Wrap yourself in truth. Guard your heart with righteousness. Plant your feet in peace. Raise the shield of faith. Cover your mind with salvation. Take hold of the sword of the Spirit. You can do this in 2 minutes. In the bathroom at work. In your car before you walk into that difficult meeting. In your kitchen before you deal with your family. Anywhere, anytime, you can armor up, and you'll feel the shift immediately. That sense of vulnerability transforms into strength. That feeling of being attacked transforms into being protected. That fear transforms into confidence. The armor is always available. It never runs out. It never wears out. It never fails. The only way you're not protected is if you choose not to put it on. And even then, the moment you realize your mistake, you can correct it. Right then. Right there. This is grace, my friends. This is the beauty of how the universe works. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right every time. You just have to be willing to keep choosing, keep coming back, keep putting on the armor every morning and whenever you need it throughout the day. Now, I want to talk about something else that's crucial. This armor isn't just for you. When you put on the whole armor of God, when you walk through this world protected and peaceful and powerful, you affect everyone around you. Your peace becomes contagious. Your faith inspires faith in others. Your strength gives others strength. Think about it. When you're around someone who's anxious, what happens? Their anxiety starts to rub off on you. When you're around someone who's always complaining, what happens? You start to notice more things to complain about. When you're around someone who's fearful, what happens? You start to feel fearful too. But the opposite is also true. When you're around someone who's peaceful, you feel more peaceful. When you're around someone who's optimistic, you start to feel more optimistic. When you're around someone who's walking in faith, your own faith gets stronger. When you put on the whole armor of God, when you walk through this world from that place of spiritual strength, you're not just protecting yourself, you're raising the vibration of everyone you encounter. You're bringing light into dark places. You're bringing peace into chaos. You're bringing hope into despair. Your children watch you. When you model what it looks like to face difficulties from a place of faith instead of fear, you're teaching them how to do the same. When you show them what it looks like to respond to conflict with peace instead of anger, you're giving them tools they'll use for the rest of their lives. When you demonstrate what it looks like to speak words of life instead of words of defeat, you're shaping how they'll speak to themselves and others forever. Your coworkers notice you. When everyone else is panicking about the latest crisis and you remain calm and centered, they feel it. When everyone else is gossiping and complaining and you stay positive and solution-focused, it shifts the energy of the whole room. You become a source of stability in an unstable environment. Your friends and family benefit from your armor. When they're going through hard times and they come to you, you don't fall apart with them. You don't add your anxiety to their anxiety. Instead, you stand firm in your armor and you become a solid place for them to lean on. Your faith holds them up when their faith is weak. Your peace calms them when they're agitated. Your strength steadies them when they're shaking. This is part of your purpose. This is part of why you're here. Not just to survive your own life, but to be a light for others. Not just to protect yourself, but to be a source of strength for those around you. The more consistently you put on the whole armor of God, the more powerfully you can fulfill that purpose. And here's something beautiful. The more you help others, the stronger your own armor becomes. When you speak words of encouragement to someone who's discouraged, you're wielding the sword of the Spirit and it becomes sharper in your own hand. When you share your faith with someone who's struggling to believe, you're raising your shield and it becomes stronger. When you bring peace into a chaotic situation, You're walking in those shoes of peace and they fit better and better. It's a beautiful cycle. You put on the armor, you walk through your day protected and powerful, you impact others positively, and that strengthens your armor even more. Day by day, choice by choice, you become more and more the person you were created to be. Now let's address something important. Some of you are thinking, this all sounds good, but you don't know what I'm facing. You don't know how hard my situation is. You don't know how many times I've tried and failed. This armor stuff might work for other people, but my problems are too big. I hear you, and I want to tell you something with absolute certainty. Your problems are not too big for this armor. The armor of God was designed specifically for big problems. It was designed for impossible situations. It was designed for those moments when you can't see any way forward. It was designed for when you're outnumbered, outmatched, and out of options. That's exactly when you need the armor most. That's exactly when. Putting it on makes the biggest difference. Because when your own strength runs out, when your own resources are depleted, when your own wisdom doesn't know what to do, the armor connects you to unlimited strength, unlimited resources, unlimited wisdom. You might be facing a health crisis that the doctors say is hopeless. Put on the armor. Let the helmet of salvation protect your mind from thoughts of death and defeat. Let the shield of faith extinguish every arrow of fear and doubt. Take up the sword of the Spirit and speak life over your body. Walk in the peace that passes understanding, even when circumstances are screaming at you to panic. You might be in financial trouble so dire that you don't see any way out. Put on the armor. Let the belt of truth remind you that you are connected to infinite abundance. Let the breastplate of righteousness keep your heart clean from desperation that would lead you to compromise your values. Walk in those shoes of peace instead of scrambling in panic. Hold up that shield of faith that says your provision is already on the way. You might be in a relationship that's broken beyond repair, or grieving a loss that feels unbearable, or facing a transition that terrifies you. Put on the armor. All of it, every piece, and then stand. Just stand. That's what the armor is for. So that after you've done everything you know to do, you can still stand. You don't collapse. You don't give up. You don't quit. You stand firm, protected, knowing that the battle is not yours, it's God's. The armor doesn't promise that nothing bad will ever happen to you. It promises that nothing that happens can destroy you. It promises that you have everything you need to face whatever comes. It promises that you are never alone, never unprotected, never without hope. Every morning is a new opportunity to put on this armor. Every morning is a fresh start. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen. It doesn't matter how weak you felt or how badly you failed. This morning, right now, you can choose to put on the whole armor of God. You can choose truth over lies. You can choose righteousness over compromise. You can choose peace over anxiety. You can choose faith over fear. You can choose to cover your mind with salvation instead of leaving it vulnerable to every negative thought. You can choose to take up the sword of the Spirit and speak life instead of death. These are choices you make, not once, but every day. Not perfectly, but consistently. And every time you make these choices, you're training yourself in spiritual warfare. You're becoming skilled in using these weapons. You're becoming strong in the Lord and in the power of His might. This is not about religion. This is not about rules and rituals and trying to please some distant deity. This is about practical spiritual power for daily living. This is about putting on divine protection every morning so you can walk through your day as the powerful spiritual being you truly are. The world needs you to be strong. Your family needs you to be strong. Your own soul needs you to be strong. And you can be strong, not in your own strength, because that will always run out, but in the strength that comes from being fully armored in truth and righteousness and peace and faith and salvation and the power of the Spirit. So here's what I want you to do. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, before you reach for your phone, before you start thinking about your problems, before you let the world crowd in, I want you to take 10 minutes to put on the whole armor of God. Go through each piece deliberately. See yourself putting it on. Speak it out loud if you need to. I put on the belt of truth. I am a divine creation. I am loved. I am whole. I am here on purpose. I put on the breastplate of righteousness. I guard my heart. I choose right thinking and right action. I protect what's most precious in me. I put on the shoes of peace. I walk through this day in peace. I trust that I am guided. I trust that everything is working for my good. I take up the shield of faith. I believe. I trust. I know that I am connected to infinite intelligence and infinite love. No weapon formed against me will prosper. I put on the helmet of salvation. I am saved. I am free. I am new. I am not my past. I am not my mistakes. I am a child of God, and that settles it. I take up the sword of the Spirit. My words have power. I speak life. I speak blessings. I speak truth. I cut through every obstacle with the Word of God. Do that tomorrow morning, and the next morning, and the morning after that. Make it your practice, your foundation, your starting point for every day. And watch what happens. Watch how your days begin to transform. Watch how your responses change. Watch how your strength grows. Watch how your faith expands. Watch how your peace deepens. You are not a victim of life. You are not powerless. You are not defenseless. You have been given the whole armor of God. Everything you need to face, everything you'll ever encounter. It's yours. It's free. It's always available. All you have to do is put it on. Take up the whole armor of God today. Not just part of it. All of it. The complete protection, the full power, everything that's been provided for you. And then go out into your day knowing that you are covered, you are protected, you are powerful, you are loved, and you are victorious. This is your inheritance. This is your birthright. This is what it means to walk as a child of the divine in a world that desperately needs your light.